Okay, so since you only factor out a 1, those two stays the same, which gives us our matching binomial. So when they match, we just go ahead and factor both of them out. So we have our x plus 6. And you don't have to cross them out if you don't want to, but it's a habit of mine. Which means whatever's left goes into the other polynomial, I mean the other parentheses. So you have 2x plus 1. All right. Any questions on that one? Yes.
I'm just wondering if, like, how with the last ones that we just did, where it had like u squared and like e squared.
Yes.
Would it ever come up like with one of these?
With these, it will, and you'll solve it the exact same way. The only difference is you'll have the u squared, uv, uv. Okay. So it would just come up the same way. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so just for laughs, let's say instead of 12x and 1x, you decided to do 1x and 12x. So if you used 2x squared plus 1x plus 12x plus 6. Okay? So let's say if you had that and you then had to do the factor by grouping. Okay, so here you'd factor an x out of both of those. So that leaves you with 2x plus 1. And here you factor a 6 out of both of those. And that'll leave you with 2x plus 1. So if you have your matching binomial, you bring out your 2x plus 1. And go ahead and cross those out. Whatever's left goes into the other parentheses, so you just have the x plus 6. So you get the same answer, it'll just be switched around. That's why it doesn't matter which one you put first. All right, any questions on that one? All right, I'll leave that up for a few more seconds. All right, so let's say, for example, we want to factor 3x squared plus 11x plus 6. And I'll give you a minute to try this one. Bless you. Right, so for this one, first thing you want to do is see if you can factor out anything from each of them, which in this case, you can't, so there's no greatest common factor. Okay. So next, you have your 3x squared plus 11x plus 6, means that your a is equal to 3, your b is equal to 11, and your c is equal to 6, which means that your a times c is 3 times 6, which is 18. So you have to find two numbers that multiply to equal 18, and those same two numbers have to add to equal your b, which is 11. Okay.
9 and 2.
Yep, so for this one, 9 and 2 works. So if 9 times 2 is 18, and 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay, so now you just have to replace 11x with those two. Okay, so that means where you started off with 3x squared plus 11x plus 6, you now have 3x squared plus 9x plus 2x. Uh-oh, kind of clean that up a little. Plus 9x plus 2x plus 6. Just replace 11x with 11x. Okay, so now you do the factor by grouping. Bring this up just a little. There we go. So your 3x squared plus 9x plus 2x plus 6. Your first step, you have to make your subgroups. Then you find the factor both of those subgroups. So for these two, you can factor out a 3x. 3x times x will give you 3x squared. And 3x times 3 will give you 9x. Okay, so for these two, you can factor out a 2. 2 times x will give you 2x. And 2 times 3 will give you 6. Where these two match, just like we figured they would. So we can go ahead and factor those out. We'll bring that up some. And whatever's left goes into the other parentheses. So you have 3x plus 2. So any questions on that one? All right, leave that up there for a few seconds. Yes.
The second equation, 3x plus 2, can that one be first before the x plus 3?
Oh yeah. If you did the
Because I did
3x squared plus 2x plus 9x, yep,
Mhm.
it just switches them around. Okay, any other questions? All right. Okay, so let's say if we wanted to, let me get this. This is factoring by substitution. Okay, so we're going to go through these step by step. What if we wanted to factor, say m minus 6 squared plus 5 times m minus 6 plus 4. Oh, factor by substitution. Okay. So whenever you have I guess you could say a polynomial within a polynomial that looks like this, the first thing you want to do is replace that polynomial with a variable, just temporarily. So your first step is you're going to temporarily replace whatever that polynomial is in there, m minus 6, with a variable. You can choose x, you can choose y, doesn't matter, because you're going to replace it again at the end. Okay, so that means that m minus 6 squared plus 5 times m minus 6 plus 4. So you replace it with x. Say x squared plus 5x plus 4. So all we did was replace m minus 6 with x. Okay. Now once you do that, you just go ahead and factor like you've done before. So your second step is you're going to factor. So that means for x squared plus 5x plus 4, clean that up, we know that b is equal to 5 and c is equal to 4. Okay, so we have to find two numbers that multiply to equal 4, and those same two numbers that add to equal 5. Okay, they only differ by 1, so you can use 4 and 1 and that'll work. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. So we know that this factors into x plus 4 and x plus 1. Okay. Now your third step is now you're going to replace x with m minus 6. And then you're going to simplify. So third, replace x, so let me kind of separate that a little bit, with m minus 6 and simplify. Right, so let me bring that up just a little bit. So instead of x plus 4 times x plus 1, you'll have, instead of x, you have m minus 6 plus 4. Yep, clean that up some. Times m minus 6 plus 1. Okay. So m minus 6 plus 4 is just m minus 2. And m minus 6 plus 1 is m minus 5. Hmm?
Did you make that?
Oh. Yep, combine those two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Any questions on this one? I know, that's why I tried to use bigger parentheses on the outside. Try to be as least confusing as possible. All right, anyone's still writing? Looks like everyone's. Oh. Leave that up for a few more. Excuse me. All right. So let's say, for example, we wanted to factor. Oh, factor by substitution. Say 3y minus 2 squared minus 3y minus 2 minus 2. Okay, so you're going to use the exact same steps that we used before. Okay, so your first step, you're going to temporarily replace 3y minus 2. Temporarily replace 3y minus 2 with x or y or u, whichever variable you want. I normally bounce between x and y just because I'm familiar with them. They're the most common ones. Okay. So that means 3y minus 2 squared minus 3y minus 2 minus 2 now becomes x squared minus x minus 2. Okay. Next step is you just factor. Okay. So x squared minus x minus 2. You know our b is equal to negative 1, and our c is equal to negative 2. So we have to find two numbers that multiply to equal our c. And those same two numbers add to equal our b. Okay. So negative 2 and 1 works for both of those. Negative 2 and positive 1. So negative 2 times negative, excuse me, times positive 1 is negative 2, and negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Okay. So we know that this factors to become x minus 2, x plus 1. Okay. So now we plug back in our 3y minus 2. Make sure there's enough room there. So we replace x with 3y minus 2 and simplify. Okay, so if we have our x minus 2, x plus 1, we plug those in, and we end up with, make those a little bit bigger, instead of x minus 2, 3y minus 2, minus 2. So 3y minus 2, minus 2, put the bigger parentheses up there. And instead of x plus 1, we have 3y minus 2 plus 1. Okay, which gives us, once we combine those two constants there, 3y minus 4 and 3y minus 1. So really you just have to replace, factor, then replace again. Okay. Any questions on this one? All right. Let's do one more. Make sure one's done. Leave that up for a little while longer. All right. So let's say, for example, we wanted to factor by substitution. X minus 4 squared minus x minus 4 minus 72. Okay, and I'll give you a minute to start on this one. Alright, so for this one, first we replace x minus 4 with a variable. I usually pick y. X minus 4 with y. So that means your x minus 4 squared minus x minus 4 minus 72 now becomes y squared minus y minus 72. Okay. Second step is to go ahead and factor it. Okay. So if you have y squared minus y minus 72, your b is equal to -1, and your c is equal to -72. We have to find two numbers that multiply to equal your c, which is -72. And those same two numbers add together to equal your b, which is -1. Okay. So in this case, -9 and 8 works. -9 times +8 is -72, and -9 plus 8 is -1. So we know this just becomes y minus 9 and y plus 8. Okay. So now we'll replace the y with x minus 4, and we simplify. Replace y with x minus 4 and simplify. Alright, so go ahead and move that up. So that means our y minus 9 times y plus 8 will now become x minus 4 minus 9 and x minus 4 plus 8. So once we combine those two, you have x minus 13